All right, here we go. Welcome to our call tonight, ladies. We are super excited to share with you tonight. Hopefully you will be able to relate with one of our 5 stories, get to know us a little bit better and see if this could be a good fit for you. We all have different walks, but our stories intertwine a bit because we all have similar things that have happened along the way, or we've overcome certain challenges, and we all have a common interest as far as we all love each other. We have become super good friends, and we talk on a daily basis, and we love our tribe. So we are excited to share that with you. We appreciate you taking the time to either be here live with us or listen to the recording, and see if this can be a good fit for you and if you want to join our family too. So my name is Corey Mayo. I am going to kind of be your MC. I will also share my story at the end tonight and kind of close things up. But I am first going to introduce to you my girl, Caitlin, and she's going to kick our night off, and then we'll kind of pass through the evening. We're going to do our best to stay till about 30 minutes in respecting your time. But I will be honest with you, all the feelings come up when you start sharing your story, and you can get off track very easily. So you might see the girls glance down at their notes, because we need to keep ourselves focused and on track so that we respect your time. But again, we're very excited to have you. My girl Caitlin and I originally met back in college years, so it's been a little bit, and we kind of lost touch over the years or whatever. I graduated a little bit before her because she finished her 4-year degree, where I only needed 2 years to finish mine at the time. And we reconnected through social media, which is awesome. You have to love social media for that. The fact that actually one of the girls on the call tonight is all the way in Washington State. So she's super far away. She flew in not that long ago to visit us. But that's the cool thing about social media, is we can reconnect with our loved ones and with people that we had connections with, previously, and get to know each other again. And so we reconnected on Facebook. Caitlin is a fire. Like, if you follow her, she doesn't hesitate to tell you exactly what is on her mind, and she will make you laugh out loud, literally, when you're listening to her stories or when she puts a text in our thread, because she is just very raw and real, and that's what all of us love about her. And that's actually a bit of her story tonight. So I'm going to mute myself and pass it off to you, girlfriend.
All right, can you hear me? I have headphones in, so it sounds funny because I can't hear myself. Okay, so when I was asked to be on this call tonight, I honestly didn't know what I wanted to talk about, because as cliche as it sounds, this opportunity has changed so much of my life, and even more importantly, so much of my perspective on life. It may come as a surprise to some of you, but I am a hardcore introvert. And way back when, I would be what I would consider to call a flawed one, maybe. I was super control freaky, super insecure, overthunk all the time, and I was just a hot mess. So when I was asked if I wanted to coach, the thought of reaching out to people to ask them if they needed my help was terrifying and impossible. It was like, I am way too shy for this. They're going to hate me, at the very least be offended by me. And like, how the hell am I qualified to help anybody? So the reason I was feeling like that is because at the time I was feeling like shit. I was drowning in my marriage and bills and this new stay-at-home mom life that I was so confused about, because I was so sad about leaving my job, but I loved my daughter. And then you enter hormones, and I was suffocated in anxiety and depression, like literally buried in concrete. And I felt worthless the majority of the time. So like, how would I possibly have a voice or anything to offer anybody? And I think about that now, and I think about what I would tell that girl, and I would say, you have so fucking much to offer. And Corey, I'm sorry for the language. I mean, we're not surprised here. You see, when I became a coach, part of being a coach is that you have to work on your mindset. So I was flexing those mind muscles, and I was filling myself up with personal development, and I was moving my body to feel good. And it was the first time I'd ever done that. Because in the past, I was moving my body to get skinny, and then I'd get skinny and I was so miserable. So what was the freaking point of any of it? And some of the, the struggles that I just told you about, on top of countless others that we have no time to discuss tonight, I used those, I harnessed them. They became my superpower. That's where my voice came from. You see, I realized that the struggles, the challenges, the things I was going through with my life that had me so down were so similar to so many other people and their struggles and their challenges. We were all just too scared to raise our hand to say anything. And through this process, I became brave enough to stand up and shout something. And I was heard. Maybe not a ton at first. It's just a little bit. People are finicky. And for good reason. They want to be able to put their faith and trust in you, but they need to see you are serious and you're going to stick with it and you're genuine and you're real. But my voice was heard, and with that came confidence, and with that came real connections, meeting real people. It created this snowball effect, you guys, that I'm still riding today. I promise you, the first time I did a call like this way back when Corey basically forced me into it, I was mortified, terrified, did not want to do it. And today I'm here sitting talking to you, and I'm so fired up because I feel so amazing. And there is no reason on this earth or in this universe that you shouldn't feel the exact same way. And part of me knows that because you're listening to this call, whether you're here right now or you're listening to this recording, there's a voice in your head that tells you that there is something out there that is more to be had with your life. And you are so completely and utterly right. So I used to be this girl where, hold on, losing my thought, we're moving on. Used to be this girl who felt so lost with my lack of purpose. I didn't recognize myself in the mirror. You can scroll through my feed from a couple years ago and my eyes, you guys, they're dead. I spent so much time trying to be somebody that I thought everybody else wanted me to be, and I was dying inside. My marriage was falling apart. I literally packed up my 2-year-old and I left. And I was gone for 3 weeks because I didn't really know what the heck it was going to do with me and my husband. And that's all very recent. That's 2020, y'all. COVID was a welcome distraction for me. That's how crappy 2020 started for me. So it was coaching that helped me to find my voice, to be able to speak with people like you, to be able to talk to my husband. Sure as hell to be able to talk to myself because I needed some sort of guidance on how to love myself in that state of mind that I was in, because I was basically at rock bottom. Coaching also has taught me that I'm so much stronger than I ever thought I could be, than I could ever imagine. I can sit here with 100% seriousness and tell you I'm capable of absolutely anything. And that is a far cry from the girl that I used to be. If I could time warp back to her, I would tell her these things. I would tell her, Caitlin, there's a light at the end of that freaking tunnel and you are going to be okay. Or maybe I would just give her a hug, I don't know. But she would look at me and be so wrapped up in fear and insecurity that all she would see me as is this pipe dream that doesn't exist. And she would write me off without even giving me a chance to speak any kind of truth to her. And you know what, guys? I am still that introvert, 100%. I love talking to you guys. I crave these calls because they make me feel good. I hope they make some of you feel good too. But they're exhausting. If you need a visual for the next hour after this, it'll be me staring at a wall because that's all I'm going to be capable of. I promise you. But you know what? I don't have to be insecure about that anymore. I just am who I am and I own it. I can love freely. I can have open and honest conversations with people like you, with my husband, who are working things out. And that is the most amazing feeling in the freaking world, you guys, to feel like you want to divorce your husband and then see that there may be a light at the end of the tunnel for that. And Beachbody is a big part of that. I can meet people and I can just be myself. A couple weeks ago, if you follow me at all or you follow somebody on this team, we just had a retreat. I got up and drove 10 hours in the middle of the night with a 2-year-old to surprise these girls on our team. Some of them are talking to you tonight. And one of them that's about to speak, I got to hug her for the first time. And you heard that right. I had never met her before in person, and I already loved her because of this community. I know her as a mom, and she has these amazing kids, and her little daughter loves me, and I secretly love that. And she is just full of light, and she's a strong woman, and she has the biggest dog I think I've ever seen in my life. But I knew all of that before I hugged her because of this community. This coaching opportunity, if you give it the chance, it can provide so much for you. For me, it provided voice, and it provided bravery, and it provided strength, but it also provided community, and to be surrounded by women that love you so hard and make it okay for you to love them so hard back. And you're going to hear from more of them tonight. So I'm going to introduce Amanda, who's going to take it. from here because I'm pretty sure I went over on my time. That's it.
And that's okay, because my time, whew, to follow that, come on now. So my time with Beachbody starts, I know Corey, hockey mom. So we have been 2 years, 3 years almost. Our kids have been together. And finally one day she said, how about you give it a go? So I sat on the sidelines thinking, one day, maybe I'll do this. It's not for me. I'm going to keep letting her. I think I even told her, I'll help you do it. I'll just be that like assistant coach, and I'll just be behind you, pushing and doing what I can from behind. And she's that ear, that the voice in your ear that's pushing you and saying, you can do this, you can do this. So, but 2 years after that, I was able to start believing in myself. I can do this. I was starting to see improvements in myself, in my mindset. Just like Caitlin said, you have to make a mindset change, and it's not nobody can do it for you. So years and years of putting that, that personal development in and putting it forward and actually seeing it go through was able to help me change that mindset. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen, 3 months from now. It's an ongoing growth process. With that, I was seeing the changes that I could make in myself, knowing I could put myself out there and gaining that confidence to allow other people or have other people allow me to help them. Nobody's going to allow you to help them if you don't put yourself out there first. They're not going to know what's going on in your life if you can't put it out there and believe in yourself. So that has helped me. I am also an introvert. I'd like to be in my house. I'm very quiet, except, on the ice rink or anywhere else. I'm very quiet and I don't put myself out there. And yeah, come on. This has given me my voice. Again, I really only knew Corey, a couple others on the call personally. Everybody else I've just met through this journey, through these morning workout calls, through these team building calls. How is it like as a life as a coach? What are you doing? Those things have helped me change my mindset, have helped me change what I can do to put myself out there and to help others. It's helped even in my husband, in his life. He's seeing the growth and the change. And it's not just putting myself out there on social media. It's changing how I think about myself and how I move and how I fuel my body and how I can put that example for my children. And that just keeps going further and further into what I am able to do with this. I would have never done this when Corey asked me. No, I think I waited 3 or 4 days to respond to her to put it out there. Might have been a little longer. And, it's something that's that mindset growth. It's that changing. It's that ability to put myself out there and be part of this wonderful team who, like Caitlin said, I hadn't met until a couple weeks ago. Those hugs were important. Those hugs were needed and necessary given everything that's going on in 2020. It kind of sucks, but this group, this community makes it better. You can be raw and they're there to support you every step of the way. I think Jessica and I started seeing each other 5 a.m., 5:30 a.m. starting March or April. And just recently, more daily conversations and texts, and that makes things easier for me. If you're going to see that text, where were you this morning, or how'd it go, or just something funny, or later in the day to help you get through that day. That is what this coaching community has helped me, and gaining my confidence to be able to help others as well. So with that, not nearly as long, but that's all I've got right now. I'm going to pass it on to Jess.
Hello. So my coaching story begins with just a lot of excuses of, no, I'm not going to do it. No, I don't have time. I can't do it. The typical excuses. When you're a mom, and I know most of you on here are moms, you are so consumed with your family and your kids and your husband and living like you're the person that runs the household. You do the cooking, you do the shopping, you do the scheduling, you do the appointments, and it falls all on you. So my biggest excuse was, I'm too busy, I can't do this. So that led me to my kids' busy schedule. I have 3 kids from 12 to 4, all in different things because they're all in different age groups. So I'm running here and there. So you start convenient eating. So you're eating McDonald's, you're eating pizza. And then you start, you know, gaining the weight from that food, and you start feeling like crap all the time. And you have late nights because you're putting them to bed at 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock, and you're doing dishes and doing laundry till 11 o'clock at night, and you're not sleeping. So then you start like looking at yourself in the mirror, or at least I started looking at myself in the mirror, and I started hating what I looked like. I picked myself apart. Look at my hair, I would always tell people my favorite part of my body is my eyes. I just love my eyes. There was nothing else I liked but my eyes, and that's what I told everybody. So because that's the only thing when I looked at, you know, myself, I don't know, that's what I saw. That's all I wanted to look at. But I started, you know, hold on, let me bring myself in. So I started hating myself, and I started getting negative, and I started putting the people around me negative. So my life was all negative, and I was, you know, ripping apart that girl that walked by, or I was, you know, snapping at my kids because I was so unhappy with who I was and myself that I had to do something to make myself feel better, because that's what we do, right? So after a few starts and stops of got to try this workout, you got to do this, I think I did 21-day fix like 3 days in 4 times. And then Corey was like, let's do 80-day obsession. I was like, you know what? I'm all in. I got to do something. I jumped all in and I did it. And then here I am, Monday through Saturday, with 4 or 5 girls I've never met in my whole entire life. And they gave me more support than the friends I've known my whole life. I talked to them every single day. And, you know, it wasn't until I actually said yes to coaching, and I remember sitting on a training, and I remember them saying, what are you into? What do you like? And I'm like sitting here thinking, well, I like my kids. I like my husband. I don't even know what I like. I'm like, I have like no interests whatsoever because my life is consumed with my family. But now I like working out. I like talking about Mindy, who's going to help me one day with meal prepping because I suck at it. She's my Mindy. She's going to help me meal prepping. She's your girl. You know, those are the things that I like to talk about now. And I have a community of girls that have done that. And I've had girls, Corey got me journaling. And because of that journaling, I started realizing that there's so much more to be thankful for than just my little circle that I was being thankful for every day. You know, like now I'm driving a 20-minute drive to work, doing personal development in my car, listening to Untamed because Caitlin said Untamed is a good book. And I'm sitting in my car driving on the expressway, listening to a section of this book. And I'm like, oh my God, this was me in high school. You know, like I'm relating to that kind of stuff. And if you would have talked to me 2 years ago, personal development, what the heck was personal development? But that's what brought me to realize there's more than just to me than my eyes. There's my smile. There's my personality. There's my love. There's so much more to you to offer to other people than what you think. You just have to find that. You have to find it, and you have to surround the people that have that and see that in you, because that's what's going to make you feel better. That's what's going to make you excel. That's what's going to make you want to get up at 5 o'clock every morning, because trust me, I did not want to get up at 5 o'clock every morning. That was my first answer to her is, I don't know if I can do this whole 5 o'clock thing. But I do it. I get up, I get my workout in, and it makes me feel great. That's how I start my day. And I start my day with all of these beautiful faces. And if I don't see them, or I don't get a text from them, or if I can't respond, I'm like, crap, I missed out on a lot. And I'm like trying to figure out what I missed, because there's a lot of laughing and a lot of love going on in those text messages. And I didn't know any of them. but this Beachbody had brought me to all of them. I mean, if you could see the video of when Caitlin walked in the door, I don't know who screamed louder, but it was amazing. It was fun. And that's all I got is, you know, now I'm going to, Mindy. So let me tell you about Mindy. And I'll tell you a story real quick because I know I'm probably going close. But I went to high school with Mindy. I was a freshman and she was a senior. And she played softball. And I remember the coach asked me to dress varsity. And I was this shy little girl. Oh my God, I get to dress varsity. I get to sit with all of these amazing softball players. Because that's what, you know, when you're a freshman, you look at, you know, it's like they're amazing. I remember sitting on the bench and Mindy was with her friends. And I'm sitting here thinking, I want to be like them. They're so good. Look how much fun they have, you know? And then fast forward, 20 years later, here's Mindy, and we're talking about how, you know, we can't open up to people or, you know, how we feel about ourselves. And I'm like, but I still want to be you. I mean, you meal prep good. And I knew a Mindy. So, you know, I'm going to take you on into Mindy and let Mindy tell you the rest of her story.
Okay, can you hear me? You hear me okay? All right, my mouse stopped working, so I don't know. So my story with Beachbody starts almost 3 years ago, and I was at a turning point in my life. I had basically changed jobs, bought a new house, moved to a city where I didn't know anybody, I didn't have any family or friends there. I was in the middle of a divorce and had just become a single mom, whereas before my ex-husband was a stay-at-home dad, so he did everything with the kids. So here I was, new city, new place, new job, you know, trying to figure out what I was going to do going forward. Work was very demanding. I was working about 10 hours a day. I had a 45-minute commute both sides. So I was just jam-packed, busy, but it felt like I was just kind of going through the motions. Like it was basically, you know, just get through the day. And I always would tell people, and I always would think, I'm like, I know there's going to be a point in my life I'm going to look back at this and think, how the hell did I do that? But it was just, you know, constant. I had to keep pushing because I had girls to take care of. I had a job to do, and just kind of kept moving forward. So Corey had reached out and was like, hey, you know, you should really try Beachbody. And I remember it was like around Thanksgiving, and I was like, well, maybe after the new year. And I kind of didn't really like get back with her. And then finally, you know, she kept asking. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to do it. You know, I need something for me because right now I'm giving myself to everybody around me, but I'm not really doing anything for me. I'm just going through the motions. So I signed up, immediately fell in love with it, with the workouts. And I'm very, very much a structured person. So I loved like, oh, there's meal plans where you use these containers and you work out for this many minutes a day and you do this. So I'm like, yes, this is like my thing. I'm into it. So a few months in, Corey's like, you know, I think you'd really make a great coach. And I'm like, no, can't do that. I'm, you know, again, very introverted, just like everybody else. But I'm like, no, I don't really think it's right for me. And one thing, like one part of my story I haven't shared up until tonight is, so my ex-husband is an addict. So I lived in this life of addiction with him for years. And when that happens, you become very closed off, like your walls go up because you don't want anybody on the outside to know what's happening inside your household. So I had closed myself off from family, from friends. I mean, I still talk to people like my real close friends and family, but anybody who was an acquaintance or wasn't really close to me, I didn't really, you know, spend a lot of time talking to. So when I'm thinking about, you know, watching Corey and what she does and how she's putting herself out there on, you know, in social media and all this, and I'm like, nope, not happening. That's just never going to happen, basically. So I'm like, no. But I was really like loving what I was doing. There was a lot of things going on. So, you know, I continued to progress. I got to a point, a little over a year ago, and it was another one of those like transition points in my life. So I quit my job where I was at before because I was told I had to move back to where I had lived before, where my ex-husband was. And, I just didn't want to go back down that road again. So I just basically quit, didn't have a job to go to, didn't have anything, just left. And I was like, okay, so now what? So I ended up moving back home or to my hometown area. Kind of was in that same situation again that I was, 3 years ago. Started a new career, sold a house, bought a house, just all those same, like all those big life changes were just all happening at once. I was in a new relationship or had been in it for a little bit. And so I was kind of like getting back on track with everything. And Corey invited me to one of these, sip and sees over the summer. And I was like, well, I'll just kind of go in the group and maybe watch the video and see what happens. So I'm, watching and I'm listening and I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to do it. This is the time. The last time all this life commotion was going on, it worked out for me. I'm in that same spot again. I'm just going to do it. So I started coaching, and that was one of the things that kind of surprised me with myself, was just how quickly I gravitated towards the connection piece of it. And reaching out to old friends and making new friends and things like that, where I was always like, well, I already have friends. Why do I need new friends? Like, that was just always my thought. So I was like surprised myself that I was so willing to kind of let my walls down, because even though I had been getting like healing from, my divorce and the stuff with my ex-husband, I still had some walls up. So I was, kind of shocked myself that I jumped into it as quickly as I did. But I'm, very grateful for it. One of the things that since I've started coaching that I have noticed and that I'm very thankful for is that I always had a passion for teaching. When I was little, I wanted to be a teacher, and I always said a preschool teacher, which now the preschool part of it, I'm like, no, because I have young kids and I'd kill everybody's children. So that could never happen. But I could maybe be like, a high school teacher or something, but I always just had this passion to want to teach. And so in my career that I have, that I went to school for and that I've done for years, I had opportunities for that, but it was like a little bit here, a little bit there. I never really got to dig in and really live that out. So that's one of the things that I've noticed, like with the coaching, is it gives me that outlet to teach and to, continue to learn things and then share what I'm learning. So maybe I'm not the person who's coming up with this, great new next meal plan idea or something, but I can take that and learn it myself and help show others, a path, because that's kind of stuff that I like. But just having that has been awesome. Another thing too that I learned from just being in this community and coaching is the same thing about the early mornings. Because Corey asked me when 80 Day first came out, like a year and a half ago or maybe 2 years ago now, and she was like, hey, we're gonna do this program. I'm like, not happening. I already wake up at like 4 in the morning, or at that time, I guess it maybe would have been 4:30, to get my workout in and drive my 45-minute commute and go to work for 10 hours. And I'm like, that's not gonna happen. So this time around, when we had the group, she's like, hey, I got some people together. I'm doing a challenge group. Would you want to do it? And I'm like, I kind of am kicking myself. I didn't do it before. I'm going to do it. So started getting up 4 a.m. Don't necessarily love waking up there early, but at the same time I do because that's a time of the day that I have that's just for me, and that I can, I can do what I would need to do for myself to keep my cup full. And then I get all of you guys now, in the morning with me, and can see you on Zoom, and everybody's doing their workout. And I remember the first time, because it started at 4 a.m. with Corey just in the mornings, and we would do some of our inviting and different things with Beachbody. And she's like, hey, are you going to jump on Zoom for the workout? And I'm like, I think Jess, you were on there too. And I was like, I don't think so. And then you're like, it's not like we watch each other, we just work out. And I'm like, okay, maybe. But now, like, I look forward to that, because again, my walls just keep slowly coming down more and more. And it's like, okay, I'm going to try it, So that's just been amazing. Like, just a totally amazing experience, getting to know everybody and you know, through the texts and the messages and stuff like that. But then in person too, it's been awesome. So I'm so thankful for Beachbody and for, you know, all my teammates, and Corey, our coach especially, has just, you know, had she not offered this to me 3 years ago, who knows, I probably would have stayed in my little shell and just never, you know, branched out or got back into, you know, where I am today. So I thank you for that, and I will turn it back over to you to close us out if I can figure out my mouse or whatever to turn my mic off here.
Well, thanks. I'm already a crier, and then you leave it with that. Oh, okay. So I will do my best not to cry because I've been tearing up as I listen to everyone's story, but I'm already doing it. So I'm not even going to try, you guys, because I'm very emotional, and to see all of these women speak their truth is like, it's crazy, because it started with me saying yes to myself. And then it started with them saying yes to themselves is why you're here. You taking yourself and giving yourself that power to love yourself and make time for yourself and fill your cup up. This is the ripple effect that creates, is that love overflows from you to everyone around you. I never believed that I would be a Beachbody coach or a wellness coach or be where I am right now, but somebody believed in me, and somebody planted that seed of belief within me. So the person who invited you to listen to this call, it's because they see something in you. It's because they have belief in you. And if you could only see yourself through their eyes, like Caitlin was saying, if she could just go back and speak to that girl again, how different life can be if we block out all the noise, and if we just sit still and we listen to what our heart wants, what our mind needs, and the desires that are already within us. Our potential is limitless, you guys. I think we must all be listening to Untamed right now, because that is exactly what she's talking about. Society puts us in this mold and tells us what we can and what we can't do, what we should think, what we shouldn't think, how we should act, how we shouldn't act. Bullshit. Bullshit. We're all here for a reason. We aren't here to just go make money, spend the money, run the rat race, and die. We're here to serve a bigger purpose. We're here to actually live and love life, to enjoy being here while we're here. I'm going to go back a little bit, because I have to try and rein in all of my thoughts, because they are kind of all over the place after listening to all of their amazing stories, pieces that I haven't heard before. It's incredible the change that happens when you take that first step. And you guys, let me just preface this by saying that none of us are who we were when we started this journey, whether it was for ourselves or with coaching. None of who you were looking at and who you were listening to tonight is not the same person that started their journey. Okay? We've all taken small steps every single day, whether for weeks, months, years, whatever. It wasn't one giant step. It wasn't two giant steps. It has been a series of steps forward, maybe a couple steps back, then steps forward, then a couple steps back, that this has been to get us to where we are today. My journey started with me needing to, one, find who I was. I was a newer wife. We had an 18-month-old baby, so we had been married for a couple years. I loved our life, loved my husband. We've been together for 15 years. We were made to be together. Love our kids. We have two amazing little boys. But after we had Keaston, I didn't feel like I knew who I was anymore. I didn't feel like I really had any interests or things that I related to or that filled my cup up or made me feel joyful, I guess. And that's kind of a double-edged sword because life was good. We weren't rolling in the dough. We didn't have all the things, but we were happy. We had a healthy baby. We had a home. Life was good. So it made me feel kind of guilty that I wanted more. That I felt like I had this pull that I felt like I needed to be doing something more in life. I didn't know what it was. And even when I started my wellness journey to start losing weight because I was 209 pounds and super unhappy and eating all the food while sitting on the couch watching my baby play by himself rather than be a present mother, I didn't know it was going to be that. But it's because of the community and the belief that I built within myself by showing up for the workouts, proving to myself that I could do hard things through personal development, to grow my mind, to plant those seeds of belief and change, and that there are reasons that we have desire in our heart. To actually put fuel in my body and not just food products so that chemically I felt happier. I had more energy. Life was getting better every single day. And I'm not going to say that it was easy because it wasn't, you guys. There's still hard times. You can ask the girls in our group thread. It was like 3 weeks ago, I just laid it all out for them. There are times that those limiting beliefs or those things that maybe have held you back, they're still going to rear their ugly heads. It's just the further you get away from them, the quicker you can recover. The faster you can snap them out of your mind and you can say, nope, not today, and keep moving. And it's through those challenges and through those overcoming and those triumphs that our stories become our message. You guys aren't here because you were watching somebody who's perfect and just has it all figured out and life is just super easy for her. You're here because she's overcome some shit. And because she's showing up, even though it's hard. And she's real, and she speaks her truth, right? You're here because you related to that struggle. And you either desire or you're starting to work towards those triumphs yourself. So we are all here because we took that first step and we continue to take steps every day, which is super exciting that to have a community of women that, one, love each other and uplift each other rather than snark at each other or talk about each other behind each other's backs. Literally, like, there literally is none of that. I can promise you, I'm not just saying that. There literally is none of that. You guys, I'm not saying that we're better than people. I'm just telling you that when you get into your journey this far, you're above that. That's not even on your radar. You are so fulfilled within yourself and you are so secure and confident in who you are, you don't need to be on that level anymore. So it's putting in the work to become a better person, right? But we haven't just gotten here because we said that we wanted to be here. We haven't created success in our wellness journey. We haven't created success in our business as wellness coaches just because we put it on a piece of paper and said, look, this is my goal. It's because we show up every single day and do the really unsexy things. We get to celebrate with clients when they have success. Caitlin shared one with us tonight that was incredible, and she's not ready to share it publicly yet, but oh my God, like, we get to be that person to cheer somebody else on and help them see that belief within themselves. It's amazing. For myself, this coaching opportunity and this passion that I have in my belly has provided so much for our family. It's given me back. It's given me my health. I went from 209 pounds to 65-ish to 70-pound weight loss, depending on the day and what I've eaten that week, let's be honest. But my husband's also lost 60 pounds. So together we've lost almost 120, 125 pounds, and we've kept it off for 8 years, you guys. Like, that didn't just happen and then like it like faded. It's been like that for 8 years. So it's given us our health. We can lead by example for our boys so that they know, and it's just what they've learned and what they know, rather than them battling their whole lives like my husband and I have with their weight and struggling to love and honor their bodies and take care of themselves. But I know that when we talk business, it's like, okay, so what's the details on the income? And I'm just going to say this up front. This opportunity is limitless when it comes to income, but your income is going to be reflected by the amount of work and by the amount of people you serve. Okay? This doesn't just happen. We have to put the time in and we have to take the action. But for my family, we went from living paycheck to paycheck in our tiny little first house, like barely making ends meet and using credit cards to make ends meet, to creating a life of freedom. We aren't totally debt free yet, but we're working towards it. And we're living in our dream home. And we've been able to take awesome vacations as a family. There's little Miss Evie. We've been able to take awesome vacations as a family. We've earned awesome trips through Beachbody. They give you incentives and they offer you free trips to go to Mexico and on cruises and all those cool things. We've been able to create substantial savings for our boys for when they go to college. It's limitless, you guys. But it starts up here, and it starts with you taking that first step of, is this what you want to do? Is be a part of this community? And when you help others, the other things will start to grow. So to close things up for tonight, I just want to let you know that when you join our coaching community, you get all of us, even Miss Evie. You get everybody. You get the love and support of everyone through your wellness journey, through your business journey, and we have all the trainings and all of the things that are going to help you to progress at your level, okay? So don't think that you have to go at my pace or at Mindy's pace or at Jess's pace. You set the bar, and we will help you work towards your personal goals. So we're super excited that you were here tonight, that you took the time to listen. Amazing stories. I appreciate so much Mindy and Caitlin and Jess and Amanda, all of you being so vulnerable and sharing those pieces of your story and being present tonight. For all of you that showed up on the call, and for those of you who are going to listen to the recording, thank you so much for being here. Please get in touch with your coach who invited you to this call or to listen to the recording, and they will help you with what the next step will be. Okay? Have a good night.